This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Edmonton Oilers discussion. Today, taking this whole Ken Holland news in stride, looking at possibly some moves he can make right out of the gate when he gets into that GM chair. Should he get into the GM chair? I'm still not 100% sold that this is exactly actually happening, but everything from Ryan Rishaug, Darren Dreger, Elliot Friedman, you name it, everybody is pointing towards Ken Holland being named GM either on Monday or Tuesday. Today is apparently decision day. Today he goes out and informs the Illich family, hey, this is what's happening. Thanks for everything you've done for me. I still want a GM job. I'm going to go get it in Edmonton. And I mean, realistically, it's not the worst case scenario for the Oilers. I know there's a lot of kind of apprehensions because Bob Nicholson, did he really go out and look at anyone he didn't already know? Because Ken Holland, being a guy from Hockey Canada a lot of years, well, yeah, you kind of see the connection right there. But it's a guy that isn't an Edmonton Oilers organization guy. That's, I think, my big key point when saying don't turn away on Holland so quickly. He's not a member of the Old Boys Club per se, if you only believe in the Old Boys Club being Oilers style, not Bob Nicholson Old Boys Club. However, that's besides the point. Today, we've pretty much gotten it confirmed at this point that Ken Holland is going to be the Edmonton Oilers' next GM for 5 years at $5 million. Now, obviously, we know how general managers work in Edmonton, and more than likely, given one or two screw-ups, he could be run out of town by year 3. It just kind of happens. But in that span, he's got a chance to do something a lot of GMs in the past have not done. And I'm going to list right now, assistant general manager Keith Gretzky. That's who our interim is. That's still my man for the GM job. Unfortunately, it doesn't look that way anymore. Craig McTavish, senior vice president, hockey operations. Dwayne Sutter, Vice President, Player Personnel. Bill Scott, this guy, you got to look at this guy because, hold on, look at his title. Director, Salary Cap Management and Assistant to the President of Hockey Operations. Scott Housen, Vice President, Player Development. Bob Green, Director, Player Personnel. Ken Hitchcock, Head Coach. Although as everything's kind of pointing towards, Ken Holland's going to replace him, and Hitch will find a different role within the Oilers organization. Golitzin, assistant coach. Trent Yanni, assistant coach. Manny Vivrios, assistant coach. Now you get into the coaches I've already kind of started questioning, and I totally forgot about the other dude. Dustin Schwartz, goalie coach. Sylvain Rodrigue, goalie coach. Jeremy Kupel, video coach. And then you've got David Pelletier, skating coach. So, you've read the title. I've gone through the names. Obviously, there are several on here, either linked to the Old Boys Club or guys that still in general should be very much so be having their job questioned, their position questioned by Ken Holland when he gets into the chair and says the power is mine. He is inevitable at this point, and we'll see what ends up happening. But there we go. Let's go down that list one more time and start talking about who needs the can as soon as Holland comes in. Obviously not on that list is Kevin Lowe. He's within the chambers of the actual ownership group now, so a little harder to remove him. And I mean, yes, I'd love to see him gone, just for the sake of the Old Boys Club mantra of being out the door finally at long last. However, we're not going to see that happen. But number one on this list, as you go down on the Oilers website, of the management to get rid of under Ken Holland has to be Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations, Craig McTavish. McTavish is now 60. According to the Oilers, he entered his, well, what would be his 5th season if he carries on as Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations after previously serving as the general manager. Don't forget, this guy failed as Oilers general manager and got a promotion. And McTavish previously served as president of hockey operations in 2012-2013. And seriously, you cannot pretend he's the head coach as well. It's a disaster in which that, how does Craig McTavish still have a job after all this failure that's gone on, and somehow he's a man who's stayed and remained and everybody else is come and gone kind of deal. And now Dwayne Sutter, the reason I would look at Dwayne Sutter as a guy to get rid of under Ken Holland is the fact that he's in his 9th season with the Oilers and 3rd as the vice president of player personnel. So, I mean, he's been there pretty much since 2016. Obviously, that was the year of which the next season we got into the playoffs. But since then, it hasn't really worked for Dwayne Sutter. So, a guy that maybe I'm not so keen on getting rid of, but a guy that still should and needs, just like everybody else, to have his, well, job questioned. And Bill Scott, this is one in which I really believe you got to can him, because honestly, if you're the director of salary cap management and you allowed or you even had any input in any of Chiarelli's decision and somehow you still have a job after how mismanaged the cap is, I don't know. I honestly don't know what a director of salary cap management is, but the reason why I kind of come down on Bill Scott for all this is the fact that he's also the assistant to the president of hockey operations, which, well, guess what? When Chiarelli was here, that's what he was, POHO as well as general manager. So you've got 2 roles filled by Chiarelli in which an advisor might have been feeding him crap. I don't know. Maybe Bill Scott's not a guy to blame, but a guy, again, you've got to question his job. Given that title, seriously, we're in this situation, and our director of salary cap management is still on the team after canning the president of hockey operations and, of course, the GM all in one. Guys, I don't know. He's entering his 5th season with the Oilers, 3rd as the team's director of salary cap, so this would actually be going back to the 16-17 season, 17-18, 18-19, and I don't know. He's also served as the club's assistant general manager for 2 seasons. So right there, Bill Scott, guys, a guy that I think's got to be on the chopping block, and another guy that everybody really likes going on about is Scott Housen. He's now with his 2nd season as Vice President of Player Development with the Oilers after serving as a pro scout during the organization's 2016-17 season. Scott Housen is the guy that I'd be getting rid of. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not too sure. As has been with the Oilers organization. Okay, hold on a second here. Never mind. I forgot Housen's other stuff. 94 to through 2007. I won't defend that no more. Bob Green, this is another one, enters 6th season as the Oilers director. This now has completed his 6th season of player personnel after joining the Oilers scouting staff in 2013 and serving the director of amateur free agent scouting. Well, Bob Green, I don't know if you blame Bob Green for all this mess, because at the end of the day, it's up to Peter Chiarelli to be smart enough. And the new GM, well, guess what, guys? Ken Holland, I think, is a good evaluator of what needs to be done, and he might just get it done. So Ken Hitchcock, like I said, we don't know what's going on with him. We don't need to get to him. But the ones we do need to get to, and I will finish up with, are, of course, the goaltending coaches. I came out and blamed Dustin Schwartz straight up. Completed his 5th year with the Oilers and enters 4th full season as the club's goaltending coach. Guys, that's the thing. You sit here and you ask, why has Talbot been trash? Why has Koskinen been trash? Why did we have such trash goalies for all these years? Is Dustin Schwartz to blame? Obviously, maybe a guy to blame. Yes, we've tried to expect too much out of backup quality goaltenders, but you've got to have a goaltender who can turn, or a goaltending coach who can turn those guys into consistent performers. And I'm not asking them to be all-stars, just consistent, and that's something we haven't had in net the past 2 years as Oilers fans. And now you look at the other guy that I'm going to sit here and question is Sylvain Rodrigue, who's with his 6th season as the Oilers goaltending assistant coach, as he works under Dustin Schwartz and assisting him with goaltending development. Rodrigue works closely with the Oilers AHL affiliate in Bakersfield. So the reason I sit here and I ask, you've got to question Sylvain Rodrigue, is because do you sit here and say, hey, you know what, he's done very well with a guy like Shane Sterrett? Do you sit here and mull over the fact that if you bring up Shane Sterrett to the NHL next year, maybe you can Dustin Schwartz and bring up Sylvain Rodrigue and sit here, maybe all of a sudden we've got ourselves a formulation that suddenly works. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know which way the Oilers would prefer to go with this, but I got to think, as Ken Holland, there's several guys that immediate chopping block, questioning chopping block, and then actually a few guys that might deserve a promotion somewhere in Hitchcock and Rodrigue. What do you guys think under Ken Holland? What is the personnel changes you would make? Who's in? Who's out? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm Tyson. This is Stolany TV. I will catch ya in the next one.